All right, looks like you must have downloaded the Autodesk Sketchbook properly and you're ready to begin your first tutorial. So let's get started. Go ahead and launch the program. Close mine and then launch it so you can see the whole, that's what it should look like. And then you're ready to go. Okay, let's talk about what you're seeing here. All right, so this is the interface of Autodesk Sketchbook, and there's a bunch of little menu options all around your screen. And so let's talk about the top bar here first, right? So, of course, the three dots with the three line is starting pretty much universal menu option. And in here, you'll find your new sketch, open, save a copy, export, preferences, and help all right here. This is your undo and your redo button. Very important that you know where those are at. These are just a select and resize. You can kind of change the size of things in here. That's a really handy tool. This is your paint bucket fill, and this lets you fill closed shapes. This is the color adjustment. This is your tools. These are rulers and curved rulers. This is your perspective guides. This is a really handy tool. This is the symmetry option, which lets you do things symmetrical on all sides of the screen and in other ways. Your stroke stabilizer, a very handy tool for keeping your lines from getting kind of shaky, which is something that happens sometimes on digital art. And then shapes, of course, you can do a line, a circle, or a square. With these three, you can get a lot of shapes done. And this is your add image. So if you want to upload a photo of yourself or a photo of anything, you can do that right here. And then text, if you want to add text to an image, you can do that right here. And then when you click on one of these to stop using it, you do have to unclick it, just so you know that. This is the pen mode for ThinkPads and things that are touch screen surfaces. This is a good thing to keep turned on, so when your hand touches the screen, it will just react to the pen. And then the UI toggle, that stands for user interface toggle. And this is kind of to open up all your different separate menus that you're looking at here, as you can see. Okay, and so let's talk about that now. So the UI toggle, I would open that up and go ahead and hit default. And if you did mess around with anything, it'll bring it all back to how it should look. And so you can see that these are the different windows you can bring up: brush library, editor, color editor, Copic Color, which is a brand of markers, very nice color picker, and in your layer editor. And you can see the blue lines show which ones are open currently. And so a color editor, layer editor, and then this one, if I open it right here, this is my brush properties. So brush properties and color editor both have this thing called a puck. And so I can kind of shrink these down. This is a really handy tool for quick access to these two options. And to keep them nice and small, you can just shrink them down to a puck size. And then I can move these to wherever is comfortable for me to work with. Okay. And as you can see, the layer editor is also movable, and I can drag this down because you can get a lot of layers going. And so this could get kind of long. So you want this to be stretchable. So yeah, that's how these main tools work. Your Copic Color is just this is a brand of markers, and you can go through here and decide the hue you want to use, and then it gives you a lot of values and the range inside that color. And there's an illustration and design option for you to choose from here. So that's pretty handy. Copic colors are really nice, and these are kind of preset colors that you can easily get back to. And you can close that down right here. As you see, all these windows have a close option right here. When I have them fully open, I can close down all these and get them out of here if I don't like that. And then I can always come back here to bring them back out again. And if you want to go back to default right there, you can do it. So that's pretty much the main user interface. And then the other big thing you want to know about is the tools. This is your brush library and brush properties. The brush properties are, of course, your brush options, how you can adjust your brush. And the options are different depending on what kind of thing you are using. A pencil will have a different hardness, and then airbrushes and paintbrushes would have things like flow. And so you can adjust these options in the brush properties. To get to your main brush library, you hit the options here, and this is all of the different libraries of brushes that are available to you. I've created my own tool box, and to create your own tool library, you'll just click on any one of these boxes will bring up the circle, and you click and hold in there, and then new brush set. That will start up a new set. You can see how it opened up right there, and I can move this around. I will say this is a little tricky moving these windows around, but they are movable, and then I can rename this. See, I already started one down here. I'll delete this just to show you guys how I got this started. And I do recommend that you create your own box or your own library set so you can quickly access the tools that you like. And so to do that, you just have to be on one of these tools. And then all I need to do is come up here, find the circle, click and hold, and then scroll down over here to copy brush. And then that'll put a copy of that brush into my own little tool tray. And so I can kind of make my own little collection right there. And so that's really handy for quick access. And so that's the tools. All the tools interact differently with each other. And so I would recommend that for your first time in this software to kind of experiment with the different tools. What's the difference between an airbrush and a paintbrush? How do they react differently? And you'll have a better feel for the tools. We'll get into the tools as we do projects, but this is just kind of an overview at this point, right? And so to get rid of the brush library, I can close that down. This tool right here, these are just the trays that you want access to. You can pin different tools to that by opening this up and hitting this thumbtack. And so if I want the artist set over there, I can choose to do that, or I can do any set. I can also pick and choose which tools go into which sets. Now this can get a little tricky, and this will mess up some of the sets, but you can see if I pull from the basic set, I can put up there, but then it goes away from here. So that can kind of cause some issues. So be careful when you're shuffling these around. If you get a little crazy with your toolbox, you can always come up here to preferences, and then you can reset all your tools to factory reset. And that will just bring it back to how it was when you first downloaded everything right there. Okay. And so one last thing I want to show you before we're out of the user interface tutorial is Sketchbook Extras. Sketchbook Extras is a place you can go to get more tools. And so you can see a little example of each of the tools that you're going to get and what they're capable of making. You can see this is water brushes, cloud brushes. I do recommend that you go in here and get these. I like this one a lot. And when you click down on this, it will just download here on the bar. And then when you open up your brush library, it'll be at the very bottom. And so I would highly recommend that you go in and get these. They're a lot of fun, and these brushes really expand what you can do in here. And the fine arts pencils, definitely get that one. Heck, I would just go through and get them all. So that closes out that way, and these close out right here. Okay, and so that's the user interface. Find a comfortable way for this to work for you. Get used to using the pucks. The pucks can also, in their small mode, I can adjust saturation. I can adjust luminosity on my my brush properties here. I can adjust hardness and size, and I can adjust opacity, which is how see-through something is. And so those are quick access to those options as well right there. So that is the main tools, that is the trays, that is all the interface toggles, and that is how to use them. So go ahead and watch the next video and see what you can do with this stuff.